Hey, Cinnamon Rage here, and this week we move from Bahrain to Barcelona for the 5th race of Season 15 of AOR Xbox F6 League. And we have a dry qualifying, and I've not actually included the qualifying my first run. It wasn't great, it was just messy, I was making mistakes, losing the back end quite a lot, which was a wee bit strange. So I'm out in another run, fueled up for a couple of laps just in case. But unfortunately I've timed it quite badly. As you can see, there are two cars in front who they were just coming out the pits, and I don't know if it was distraction, bad air or what, but I just really struggled to get the losing all over the place. So not really sure what happened, but you can see at this point I just drop it to lean. I was already down by 6/10, something I was never going to make up, so dropped it to lean and just really looked at going back to start another lap and leaving as much fuel and doing as little tyre wear as possible. These would be the tyres I was hopefully starting the race on. I did kind of move to the side to get out of the way, not even full throttling, but yeah. Anyway, it was a bit frustrating, but I've got enough fuel, as I say, for another lap, which is rare. I don't normally do that, but I just had one of those feelings, so for once it kind of paid off. So max fuel mode, I had a wee panic because I thought I'd invalidated this and next lap, but seemed to just scrape away from doing that. If it had probably been a corner later, it would have been gone. So this is my third lap, second attempt on this kind of hot run. And it was better, but it still wasn't great. I'm actually over a 10th down by the first corner, which was a bit peculiar. I didn't think I'd taken it particularly badly, and I didn't think I'd taken it particularly well the first time. So yeah, it wasn't too bad, using up all the track. Usual lockup, I'm not too worried about that, I do it all the time anyway. But again, just seemed to be a bit slow through turn 5 or 6 that was there. But got a much better run heading up to the DRS straight, the second one. And yeah, just at least beginning to hook up a wee bit better near the end of the lap. But this is where I make big gains on my first lap, because it was actually in the very last part of the last sector that I just kept losing the back end. So I mean, 2/10 is okay at this stage, considering I was over a 10th down, so I've made up quite a lot in the middle ground. Just try and keep it clean around here, and then you can just see a jump up to about sort of 7/10ish, I think. Yep, about 7/10 for this lap, but it still wasn't brilliant. I have got it down to essentially 119.0 dead, possibly late 118s, so yeah, but at the same time, given the mess that I'd made of the other bits, I wasn't complaining too much. So this was going to be a dry race, although I think it was kind of getting to the stage where it was borderline rain at the end, but yeah, I think definitely dry. So I'm third place behind Mighty Dylan and Catmobile, and yeah, it was just a bad start. Also, Evil Catmobile, I believe at this point, actually disconnects. Now I didn't even spot that it disappeared. I was so worried about Bayfield, who was on my inside. I back out of it because the last thing you want to do is just get wing damage, so I just kind of let it go. As I say, it was the lesser of two evils. If I tried to risk it, I could have lost a wing. You see, come across quite a lot, and yeah, so one place wasn't the end of the world. I still had third place at this point, which is pretty good. So yeah, it was not a great start, but Evil Catmobile's disconnection seemed to actually kind of save me from losing a space. Really, I ended up just back where I was, so not a bad result in the grand scheme of things. So just going to let this play for a while. I just kind of follow behind Bayfield, and as you'll see over the wee sped up bit that's coming up, we kind of pull a wee bit of a gap to the cars behind. It was Aksu and somebody else. You can see really quite close in the bottom corner, and I think their battling just meant that I could create a wee bit of a gap, certainly enough to not stress myself out too much, but having someone right behind me, so that was quite nice having that wee bit of a buffer. Although, to be honest, I wasn't really making a lot of inroads into Bayfield's lead. I think I eventually start getting DRS on him. In fact, there we go. DRS starts about here, but yeah, it was kind of just, everyone was kind of just holding distance. I grew it a wee bit to Aksu, but not by much, and I closed it down to Bayfield, but again, not by much, and not in any threatening way either, so there's really not a massive amount I could do, but just follow him for the next wee while and hope that he either made a mistake or my pace somehow just picked up. So by this point I'd got myself to within about 8 tenths of Bayfield. The problem was he was just getting a better launch out the corner every time onto the main DRS straight, and it meant I couldn't really get close. But you can actually see here, I get lucky. He hits the curb, spins, and from his message on the AOR boards, it seems that he did some wing damage as well. So skipping to the end of lap 9, I come in for my first pit stop, and from here I was going from softs to mediums. Now I kind of use the Xbox record button, so you can see here I start bringing up menus because I forgot to restart my recording for the hour and accidentally pressed display. But look what happens when I get into the pits. No one does anything. The guy wasn't ready with the trolley, it was them that told me to come in. And that ends up being an 8.5 second pit stop. That's like 5 seconds worse than it should have been. So it absolutely killed me. The game just essentially screwed me over royally there, because it meant I came out behind Prowlix, I think Soliduft, and McLaren Christoph just behind me for no other reason than the game didn't do the pit stop right. So I don't know if it's a glitch, I don't know if it's just one of these random things the game builds in, but either way it really did mess up my race. My pace was quite good here, and I do catch up Prowlix and Soliduft, and I think Soliduft said he might have a damage, so he's even holding up Prowlix a bit himself, so I think that's why he went into the pit stop there, which unleashes Prowlix and hopefully me as well. It turns out here, looking back over my RS dash data, I was a bit quicker. I was getting held up to maybe the tune of maybe 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds on these laps compared. Well, I think there was a wee bit of a spike after when Soliduft was out as well with damaged wing. But I had a lower downforce setting than Prowlix did. I think he was much higher. So then as soon as I hit the straights or long parts, I was just catching him up quite a lot, but out of corners and stuff he was doing a much better job. I had to back out that slightly there. I thought I might have a look in there when he ran a bit wide, but it wasn't to be. So yeah, I mean it was good battling, but this didn't help my fast middle stint at all. It really did. It slowed me down. You never want to be fighting, you're just doing more tyre wear, yeah, but he was one stopping, so it was absolutely in his interest that if he could hold me back as long as possible, it would end up leaving me in a position where the one stop might not have worked, or the one stop might actually be my 2 stop even, sorry. So yeah, he was just getting a better exit out the last sector. So I was firing into Rich, had DRS, I was starting from quite a ways back, so I was pushing up. I would catch up about now, but he was going defensive, and yeah, there just wasn't a move on there, so it just meant I had to keep fighting for essentially one lap with Solduft, another lap with Prowlix, and we're on to our essentially third lap, stuck behind people. That was a mistake, and it absolutely panicked me as well, because the mistake was my direction pad on my steering wheel is also my Xbox home button, and I realised I'd left it in rich, and as I went to knock it down to standard, I actually clicked it and brought up the Xbox home button and brought up the Xbox interface, so I had to back out of that quickly. And you can see Clay and Christoph got incredibly close during that mistake on my part, so it might have been a bit scary for him as well, as the eye took over for a moment or two. So yeah, sorry Christoph. But yeah, back with Prowlix, just trying to keep up as much as possible without getting too much dirty air. Yeah, again, running slightly wide, but if I could get a better run onto the straight, but you can see he's away again, but at least it's a bit healthier than the last lap. As I say, it was definitely the right thing for him to do for his race. I think I got alongside a wee bit quicker here, and yeah, managed to get the move done, but I think RS Dash told me it maybe cost me about, just coming out where I came out, because the game didn't actually change my tyres when it should have changed them, it cost me maybe about 4 or 5 seconds. So that's really 10 seconds lost just because of that stupid pit stop. A good few laps later, onto lap 19, I've caught up with the tool. He was in the hard tyre, he's going for the one stop. And yeah, I was catching him up at a fair rate of knots, but again, I wasn't really closing him in as quickly as I'd probably have liked to have closed him in. And in addition to this, I go ahead and do that, take way too much curb and cause myself a wee spin, so yeah, not helping myself. Again, using the wee tool, it looks like this cost me about maybe 6 seconds or something to that effect. Is that right? Can't remember. 4 to 6 seconds. Doesn't matter too much, but that one was 100% on me. So now just cutting to lap 22, I caught a tool back up a bit, as I should, being on faster tyres, but just again not quickly enough. It kind of feels like a bit of a theme of the race, that I was doing things but I was just not doing them quickly enough, and by this point I was getting quite nervous of the curbs. But decide to pit, that gives me 11 laps on the soft tyre, which was the tyre I was going to go to the end of the race on. And the game, thankfully for this pit stop, did not screw me over, so yeah, I wouldn't say I'm happy about it, but it's not something I should have any emotion about. Either the game just, yeah, as I say, I was quite annoyed that it did that to me. It really did affected my race kind of in a negative fashion, more than I think it should have. But hey, oh, there's not a lot I can do about it. So that's me out now behind Krish, who's in 5th place, and sadly that's me down to 6th place. But hopefully someone ahead would pit, and I would have the pace on brand new soft tyres compared to everyone else who might have been running the hard tyres since, I'm guessing, about sort of lap 11, maybe even 10. So yeah, that's where I was at this stage in the last third of the race. Not hopeless, but certainly not where I'd like to have been. Also in this race, at this point, I'm actually just beginning to catch up with some of the back markers, which was also potentially going to make things that wee bit more difficult, although it was nothing people in front had to contend with as well. So I think this is I can't see his name quite yet, but we'll see when it get a bit closer. But yeah, I'd even caught up with them in possibly the worst position possible, right in the last sector, and they were significantly slower. And yeah, I don't know what they were doing there. They seemed to really back out into that last part when they should have been just pushing to get on the straight and let me pass there. But yeah, I'm just going to speed through it a wee bit, because once I had a wee bit of clear air from the back markers, I could push on and catch up with Krish 04, who's now just ahead in the Ferrari. And as I say, my pace on So soft tyres should be pretty good, although Dylan, I think he was one of the few others that actually did the 2-stop, and yeah, he really made it work. But I'd caught up with Krish at this point going into the last sector. I was definitely going to have DRS, so I was quite hopeful for the next straight, but actually it turns out it didn't quite need it, because he basically put it in the wall, and in slow-mo you can actually see where he went wrong. He kind of runs up on the curb on the inside and it just starts turning him, and at this point I didn't really know where to go. So as he starts to sort of pirouette left, I start to kind of go round him on the right. You can see my steering wheel move to the right, and then as he comes back across, I have to swerve to the left. So yeah, it was a wee bit of a hairy moment. I am so glad I didn't have DRS on at this point. I probably wouldn't have had enough grip to actually survive it. So yeah, that was another place, and that was me up to 4th. So at this point I'm now lap 27 and chasing down RT93 Axu, who again is on hard tyres. Got to assume that that's been the case since maybe laps like 12 or something like that. Maybe a wee bit later if he started in the mediums. But yeah, my soft tyres at this point were still pretty solid. And yeah, coming up to DRS straight, I was going to have DRS on him. It's not a particularly long straight, so I don't find it the easiest, but I did get a good run off that, and he really clean drive, and just kind of, I did try and leave room on the right hand side, but yeah, he just kind of didn't fight it too hard. I think he knew we were just on completely different tyres at this point. So yeah, cutting on to the final lap, I get a warning that my DRS is broken, which obviously really doesn't matter at this point. For the most part, I'd actually been doing the last lap or two on lean mix, just because my tyres were, well, one of them, as you saw there, was going to 50%, and I didn't want to push it. I was never going to catch Atul in front of me. He was like 11 seconds up the road, so there was no point risking it. So I just kind of tried to cruise home as much as is possible. Weirdly, game's still trying to get me to pit in the last lap, but it doesn't matter. So that's me, come home from my second podium, my second third place even of the season, which is just more than ever expected, again in AOR, so really kind of delighted with that. So another one of those things that I thought would be a near impossibility, a wee picture of me in the podium, and that was Mighty Dylan, who actually won the race with Atul in second. So that was some great racing. I actually kind of thought at the end I'd just picked the wrong strategy, and then it was pointed out to me that Mighty Dylan was in the exact same strategy I was on. He just had less issues, and obviously just was the quicker driver today as well, by a margin. So yeah, that was quite good. Got me third place, which I cannot complain about. So with that third place, as you'll see in a second, that's me now third in the championship after moving up one more place. So I'm actually delighted with that. What I have done in this video though is I've got some footage from some of the other drivers in our league, as I've been promising to do for a while, which is Joski, Prowlix and Edited Fawn. And I'm going to start with Joski's dramatic start. He seemed to have a problem with the car, and the car just didn't move. Luckily ghosted for those behind him, but unfortunately went from a decent qualifying position to last before even the first corner. So after that problematic start though, you can see Joski begins to make up some time, gets back onto the end of the pack, and just biding his time there as everyone sort of shuffles around in those first few opening corners. Luckily, Evil Catmobile, who's the driver in front of me, who just vanished, obviously reappeared further down the grid and ghosted, luckily, through Joski. And I think Joski was just caught there by someone braking really early on a full fuel load. Next we get Prowlix, who has come up against one of the back markers, and as you can see shortly, there's a bit of confusion going into turn 4, where I think they made the back marker makes just the wrong decision in terms of where to get out of the way, and that really did do it for Prelux's race. And then we have Edited Font, who's just, his pace so often is so good. We kind of do a lot of practicing together, and yeah, he just doesn't seem to have much luck, to be perfectly honest. So as we come through here, keep an eye on Acid Raptor in the Renault on his right, who's just disappeared off screen for a wee moment, and he's just disconnected, slows right down, takes off after in the third corner, takes off Edited Font's front part of his wing, and then Acid Raptor disappears up the road, and yeah, you'll see it for the next kind of couple of corners. He'll just disappear and respawn further up ahead. Like, there's another example of it. So it's never fun when you're racing behind that. In fact, it's awful, because they just you can't get close, or else you're just going to lose more of your wing. But yeah, it was understandable to see that Edited Font actually pitted at the end of the first lap to get a new wing, but it doesn't even end there for him. Again, coming up on a back marker just now, he just gets a good run up the hill here, and yeah, it seems like the back marker's doing okay, and then come this corner, I don't know how slow he's going to take that, but there goes another piece of Edited's wing, and I think this might actually be the same. In fact, it weren't a back marker, it was for position, but he comes up against the same person. Forgetting Edited had to pit a lap early, but you can see he goes off, spins off, crashes, and then Edited gets yeah, just as I say, absolutely zero luck. Anyway, I will catch you next week for Silverstone. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, and check out apexonlineracing.com. And yeah, it's a great league, really enjoying it so far. Cheers.